Hello, people out there on the interwebs, as you do. Thanks for joining. I'm MJ. Today I will be playing Bad End Theatre. I've seen. Okay. Welcome to Bad End Theatre. On this stage, we shall be toying with fate. Yay! You will make many choices, unlocking darker and darker paths, all in order to witness a lovely variety of tragic events. But first, allow me to explain how it works. To begin the tutorial, select whichever doll you like. Human, demon. Let's try be a human. You control the human doll. You're a friendly little guy just minding your own business. Sure. How will you interact with the demon doll? I'll be nice, not doing anything to me. Oh. You try to make friends with the demon doll, but it kills you in cold blood. How ruthless. Rude. You found your very first bad ending. But don't worry, the story need not end here. Let's reset the stage and try again. This time, try controlling the other doll. What if I don't? Will it force me to? It'll force me, okay. I'm a fierce looking guy just minding my own business. I will play nice. You and the human doll are able to set aside your differences and become friends. Wow. Why, this isn't a bad ending at all. I should have written out this possibility. It's not just suited to my theatre whatsoever. Well, that's your problem, narrator, game developer, people. Now that you know how the story goes, you can set doll's behaviour in advance. These behaviours will automatically be set to what you choose during the last playthrough. Oh, but I can turn them on and off. It's a puzzle game. Try turning off and on the doll's behaviour to see outcomes. Let's make everyone hostile. Attack! You both attack each other at once and die together. How tragic. I'm done. Yeah, I get it. Game saves automatically. Cool. Alright. We'll read from right to left. We'll start right to left, left to right. My goodness. It's been a long day, long week. You need stuff, man. Alright, left to right, hero first. You are the hero. You like to think of yourself as a pretty reliable and swell guy. That's nice. Your life has been rather ordinary, aside from the occasional heroic adventures fighting evil monsters and whatnot. You are told a maiden from your village has been kidnapped and is being held captive at a nearby demon overlord's castle. Very sad. Whoever put a village right next to an entire demon army hangs out. Where it hangs out, oh my goodness. Whoever puts an entire village right next to where an entire demon army hangs out. You don't get it. Really is terrible town planning. But you're happy to protect the townspeople, though. You were born to play this role. You head off on your adventure to rescue the maiden. But oh no! Demon soldiers block your path. I could kill them. No, let's flee like a coward. You escape with your life. You can't return home now. You can always go back. Chicken. I wonder how you'll ever be able to rescue the maiden all your own if you can't fight some lousy demon underlings. Truly. But you'll take your chances at the castle. You're a hero. You do your job. After a long trek, you make it to the front gates. You're faced with an army of demons that all look very intimidating. There's no way to sneak through. Maybe we can cut through them. You gather your courage. This is what must be done in order to rescue the maiden. These are all evil demons anyway. The world is much safer with them gone. That's what you tell yourself while you kill one after another, goodness, on your way to the Overlord's chambers. The Overlord appears, demanding to know what you're doing, murdering all her soldiers. Ask her where the maiden is. Wow, she feigns ignorance. A convincing act, but you won't be fooled. If the maiden isn't here, then what happened to her? You can see only one answer. The Overlord definitely captured her. In fact, it's possible she's already been devoured. Well, you gotta cut her open then. Thinking about the poor maiden's fate fills you with hatred. You fight the Overlord with everything you've got. You've become strong from the hordes of demons you've took down before this final battle. The Overlord is almost no match for you. You cut her to pieces. The Overlord has fallen. You breathe a sigh of relief, but your job isn't finished. You search the castle. Unfortunately, you find no sign of the maiden. Too sad. It's just as you suspected. She must have already been devoured. You feel hollow. A great evil has been banished from this world, but what does it matter if you are too weak to save someone? You stand alone amidst the carnage and ponder what it means to be a hero. Isn't this what She-Hulk just talked about? Like episode 1? What? You return to the Overlord's remains and wrap her head in your cape to bring back to the village. Surely your great victory will be celebrated. Failed hero ending. Alright. 1 out of 41, okay. I'll start again because there was another option. Born will flee. I will be diplomatic. You go up to the nearest demon and explain why you've come here. They stare you down, and you feel very uncomfortable. But they seem to trust you and escort you directly to the Overlord's chambers. That was easy. The Overlord is all alone. You ask her about the maiden, but the Overlord doesn't seem to know what you're talking about. Was she never here? You wonder what could have happened to her. The Overlord says she wishes she could help you, but you're the first human that's come in here in forever. At least, that she knows of. You think of how you probably shouldn't trust her, seeing she's a demon and all. But you can't really prove she's lying either. You apologize for the intrusion and return home to your village. The maiden was never found. Useless hero ending. Ooh. Reset. So that's probably all we can get out of there right now from hero. We'll do maiden. You are a maiden. You live in a peaceful village next to a spooky demon overlord's castle. Yay! You were told that you were fated to be captured by the Overlord one day. Because you are a beautiful young girl, demon overlords apparently love capturing those. You think of how you actually haven't heard of that happening to anyone, but maybe demons just haven't been given the opportunity. Who knows? You're in church. You're praying to your God, asking why you've been born into this role of maiden. You respect the divine plan and all, but you're really just curious as to what the point of this is. You are impatient. Meeting a demon actually sounds pretty gosh darn exciting. Maybe you'd understand your role better if you were to just hurry up and get captured already. Sure, let's do that. You leave a note and venture forth to find a demon just to, see what happens. Not long into your little adventure, a demon underling appears before you. It looks pretty scary. Talk about luck. Sure, we'll introduce. We'll be polite. You tell the demon your name and explain that you're a maiden from the village. The demon suddenly jumps at you and starts biting. A lot. How painful. This plan of yours is completely stupid, you think. Why couldn't you have been more patient? Why did you go looking for trouble? Truly good questions. You aren't angry or anything. Of course, this was all your fault for trusting a demon not to devour you on sight. This is your punishment for questioning fate, you guess. Bit by bit, you are swallowed by the demon until you are no more. Consumed maiden ending. Ouch. Alright. Reset the stage. Yeah, we'll leave you as diplomatic. Will it do anything if you're not polite? Skip. You shout for a hero to come save you. You yell, but a hero does not come. Starts biting a lot. Okay, it's all the same. Yeah. So that's all we can do with you. Go underling. You are a demon underling in service to an overlord. You aren't particularly strong, but not particularly weak. That's what your friends tell you. Your job is to guard the castle and keep humans away. It's unbearably boring. Heroes rarely come all the way here to challenge the overlord anyway. It's a lot of standing in one place, staring into nothing. You feel like you're gonna go crazy if you don't get a break. You decide to ask the overlord for a day off. She gives you an earful about responsibility and unquestioning obedience. You wait for her to finish her lecture before returning to your post. What does she know anyway? Who made her the boss of everything and everyone? You complain about the overlord to your friends. Sounds reasonable. They agree that she is kind of a snob and totally deserves to be kicked off her throne. You only wanted to vent your frustrations, but now the conversation somehow turned into an assassination plot. We should probably steer this in a responsible direction. Why would we? No! You're sick of this overlord holding you and your friends back. You agree that it's time for a change of management. Your friends suggest maybe you should be the new overlord. You like the sound of that? Your announcement? You announce your first act of rebellion is to take that day off like you wanted. Your friends aren't very impressed. You assure them that you'll talk more about the assassination thing when you get back, which satisfies them. You sneak out the castle to have some fun. The change of atmosphere excites you when you spend some time rolling around in the grass, free and wild. As you make your way along the path to a nearby human village, you encounter a maiden. She seems very frightened and screams for a hero to come save her. You consider your options. Let's tell her to quit yelling. When the maiden realizes you're not going to hurt her, she regains her composure. Now she's started talking to you like you're friends or something. You don't understand humans at all. You speak the same language, of course, which has always confused you, because why is there conveniently only one language in the world? If demons and humans have independent societies, wouldn't it make sense for them to each have their own language? The maiden is going on and on about some sort of destiny she's trying to fulfill. The bottom line, from what you gather, is that she wants you to take her to the Overlord. Sounds like it could be interesting. Besides, you have nothing better to do. Satisfied with your day out, you take the maiden back to the castle and present her to the Overlord. The Overlord asks where you found this maiden, knowing full well that you left the castle when you weren't supposed to. Whoopsies. You apologise for disobeying her, but hope that the maiden is an interesting enough present that you may be forgiven. The Overlord nods and says everything's cool as long as you always listen to her from now on. You're impressed with what an easygoing boss she is. You mention how you can't believe you and your friends even considered overthrowing her. Ooh. She gives you a look and you say, "That was a joke, of course." She smiles and dismisses you. You decide it's about time for a nap. Fair, valid. You don't get to sleep long. Your friends awake you. Rude. One of them is stepping on you pretty hard. You ask them what their deal is. They say they're planning a whole revolution. They're going to get rid of the current Overlord and put a new ruler in place. They want to hear if you're in or out. And being a pretty lazy underling, you of course reply with, "That sounds like a lot of trouble. How about we just skip instead?" Your friends question your loyalty to their cause. So if I choose that, I'm gonna die. I assume there's a skull. Yeah, let's overthrow her. You tell them you were just joking and clarify that you're totally in it to win it. They say you are always terrible with jokes. Whether or not you actually feel like killing the Overlord, you know how bad it'll be to end up on the wrong side of things. And if this assassination deal doesn't pan out, you can always pretend you were innocent all along, sure. But beneath your shield of faux confidence, you worry about what you're getting yourself dragged into. You follow your friends outside the castle to talk more about your plan. You're curious if they have any ideas how they want to go about this. They figured they'd just lock her in a room and set it on fire. What a stupid plan. That could go wrong in so many ways. You realise your friends are just a bunch of directionless thugs, useless without someone's guidance. Your guidance. They'd probably be casualties if you fought her head on, and while showy deaths make a revolution a heck of a lot more fun, it's probably the wrong way to go. Your friends agree and suggest that you play the assassin. You really didn't want it to come down to this, but you can't back down now. You'll have to be the one to assassinate the Overlord. Besides, no one has any better ideas. Ooh, colours. You and your friends turn to notice a pair of humans have overheard your entire conversation. Really troublesome. There's 3 colours there, so underling, maiden, I guess that's Overlord pink, because the hero was orange. Okay. They take off into the castle. Are they headed to the Overlord's room? Gosh darn. The Overlord will kill you for sure if she found out you were conspiring to take her out. You dash into the castle after the humans. Sure enough, the maiden's already frantically telling the Overlord everything. Oh, that's all the colours now. There's that orange. Ew. You shout that the humans are liars. Your friends soon arrive to back you up, except they don't. they instead blame the whole thing on you. They cry out that it was all your idea and that you were just going. They cry out it was all your idea and that they were just going with the flow, too scared to refuse your crazy plan. You can't believe they'd tell the Overlord such a blatant lie. You always knew better than to trust them. You're the one who didn't have a choice here. You all shout at each other until the Overlord demands silence. Regardless of who led this conspiracy, I have no choice but to punish everyone to keep you all in your place, crushed beneath my heel. She sounds tough, but lately, all she does is sleep. You doubt her strength. You hear your traitorous friends mutter something about going back to Plan A, and suddenly the door slams shut. You're trapped in here with the Overlord and the two humans. And the room bursts into flames. You pound on the door, screaming curses at all those who betrayed you. The hero joins you, vowing to slay the lot of them. You wish you'd get that chance. The Overlord grabs you by the throat. You cry out for mercy. You were too focused into this. You were forced into this mess. You're forced into this mess. You're sure now that they would have killed you if you'd sided with her. The Overlord, your pleas, she drives her claws into your chest. At least she made it quick. Woof. Traitor underling ending. Ooh. Reset. We'll go with Overlord will make you hungry, make you dutiful, and you polite. You are the Overlord. You live in a castle surrounded by your demon servants. It's a pretty cushy life, you think. Except for those pesky humans who keep killing members of your army. There's even a role called Hero, whose whole purpose in life is just to dethrone you. What's their deal anyway? You've actively avoided pissing off the humans in hopes they'll leave you and your army alone, but they never do. You're still new to this whole Overlord thing if you're being quite honest with yourself. You don't really understand the politics of it, but you remind yourself, everyone is just doing their best to fulfill their roles. You won't let them bait you into being the evil Overlord they expect. How fabulous of you. You think you're pretty cool and mature to hold yourself to that standard? You think yourself pretty cool and mature to hold yourself to the highest standard like that. One of your underlings walks into the room, totally interrupting your thoughts about how awesome you are. They're saying something about how boring it is to stand in one place guarding the castle all the time, especially since no one ever comes here anyway. You see their point, but the way they're whining about it kind of bothers you. What to do with this underling? We'll give you the day off, sure. You tell them to go take a break from the stifling castle atmosphere and refresh their dark soul. A day off should be fine every once in a while. They say thank you and happily scurry off to do who knows what. You have nothing better to do today, so you decide to take a nap for a little while. Being the Overlord sure is great. You awake to a huge commotion outside. A hero has shown up and started totally murdering your soldiers? What the heck, guy? You rush out into the battlefield to confront this hero. You curse at him and very rudely inquire his reasons for doing all this. The hero yells at you, demanding you return the maiden you're holding captive. You don't know what he's talking about, but you can't forgive his actions. You do battle with the hero, but he has grown strong from cutting down your army. You are unable to defeat him. With decisive swings, he stabs and cuts you into pieces. You fall. You failed your subjects. You spit curses weekly. Wish you'd been stronger. Maybe you were never suited to be Overlord in the first place. The truth was, you were never that much more powerful than the demons who served you. It was the title, the control that gave you strength. Those are your thoughts as you are swallowed by darkness. Conquered Overlord ending. So we'll make the hero diplomatic, polite, neither of those, and we'll be Overlord. Overlord will be a tyrant. You give them a lecture about about responsibility and unquestioning obedience. Your servants ought to do what they're told, whether they like it or not. They look really unhappy with you, but you're sure they'll thank you for this later. Venturing too far from the castle tends to spell death. You dismiss the underling and lie down in your nice and comfy Overlord bed. All that lecturing made you want to take a nap. You fall asleep pretty quick. Just another one of your amazing talents as the Overlord. I wish I had that talent. You awake to a knock on your door. The underling from earlier brought back some company. You thought you told the underling to do their job, not drag strangers into your room. Looks like they took an unauthorized break from the castle. You scold them, but ultimately you're a little interested in this guest, so you let them off easy. That underling's not so bad. It's a maiden from the nearby human village. She says her role is to be captured by you. The maiden then goes on to say that she's been getting very impatient thinking about her impending capture, so she's come here to speed things along. Very thoughtful. You appreciate her honesty, but regret to inform her that you never had any plans to capture any humans. She seems very disappointed by this. Perhaps I'm not performing my role well enough. How can I become more maiden-like? You don't really understand the question. You think this world puts way too much focus on destiny and junk. Just go home and stop worrying about it, you tell her. The maiden seems to be having a hard time wrapping her head around this. She insists that she stay and talk to you more. You feel warm inside as she looks into your eyes. This is the first time a human has looked at you without contempt. You wonder what to say. Let her stay for a while. You can't bring yourself to send this maiden away. She just got here. You enjoy a nice long chat with her, sharing stories about your kind. She expresses her surprise that demons are not at all what she expected them to be. You are glad that she seems to have an open mind about these kinds of things. You also bring up how you always instruct your army to avoid humans, as to not agitate them and get heroes sent out after you. That explains why the people of my village have been left unharmed. It's because of your orders, isn't it? We are very grateful. You're surprised to hear her thank you. You've always thought of humans to be violent and unreasonable. That's why your servants are always getting killed despite your efforts to leave them alone. But this maiden is different. You joke that maybe you've been lying to her this whole time, and that you were actually super evil and that you were actually super evil all along. The maiden laughs at that, saying she wouldn't mind being held captive here. The people in her village are a little exhausting at times, she says. You can't tell if she's into you or not. You're interrupted by another human in your doorway. This time, it's a hero. He was apparently searching for the maiden, who was rumoured to have been captured by your kind. Captured? Not at all. I only wanted to meet with the Overlord. Didn't anyone read the note I left behind? After everything is explained, the hero expresses his relief that this whole After everything is explained, the hero expresses his relief that this whole misunderstanding hadn't led to any horrible consequences. The maiden apologizes for causing trouble, and the hero asks her to return to the village with him. Confusing feelings well up inside your heart. You're surprised that you had one of those to begin with. You don't want the hero to take this maiden away from you. Let them go. You're certain that she'll return to spend more time with you. You just have to trust in that, you decide. With the hero and maiden gone, you plump down into the comfort. With the hero and maiden gone, you plop down into the comfort of your luxurious overlord bed. Your room feels so empty now. Is this loneliness? You hope your new friend will be back soon. You close your eyes for a while, until your door slams shut. Before you knew it, everything around you is being engulfed by flames. What's going on? You try to escape, but something's blocking the door. You're having trouble forcing it open. What is this? Someone didn't want you getting out. Are you being usurped? They have zero foresight. What castle will they rule if they burn? What castle will they rule if they burn this one down? You don't want to believe that your underlings have betrayed you, but this is no accident. Those ungrateful. You choke on the thick black smoke from the fire. You can't believe you're being done in by a bunch of cowards. You'll see them in hell. Burned overlord ending. Too sad. I will make you all of them. Why not? You're a maiden. Yay. Introduce yourself. Demon doesn't seem to have really been listening to you, which is a little irritating. They agree to take you to their master nonetheless. After a long walk to the castle, you are introduced to the Overlord. She lectures the underling that brought you here, who apparently had been told not to leave their post. You wonder what cruel punishment awaits them. But to your surprise, she lets them off easy. The underling is dismissed, and the Overlord turns to you, looking very interested. You explain why you've come, and she squints at you. It turns out she never had any plans to capture maidens, or to do anything else that would agitate the humans. You wonder for a moment if she might be lying, but it doesn't really seem like it. Still, this doesn't make any sense to you. You've always been told that demons would one day seek you out, and something awful would happen. Then a hero would come to your rescue. You don't want to believe you've been lied to all along. Maybe it's just that you hadn't been maiden-like enough. You ask the Overlord what you should do to be a more suitable maiden, but she doesn't seem to understand. Just go home and stop worrying about destiny so much. She makes it sound so simple. This Overlord seems like the complete opposite of you. You want to learn more about her and how she thinks. You insist on staying to talk with her more. The Overlord tells you again that you should get lost. How rude. You just got here. Let's obey her. You don't want to cause any more trouble, so you figure it's time to go home. Along the way, you encounter a hero. He's covered in demon blood. You were frightened by the sight of him and run away. You return to the village alone. Everyone was very worried about you. They surround you with 1,000 questions, and you tell them your story. As you explain that the Overlord never had any intentions to harm anyone here, you notice the looks of uncertainty in the crowd. People are whispering things to each other while you speak to them. You are loudly interrupted by an older man. He rudely calls you a demon sympathizer. The crowd is growing unruly. You don't understand. You've only told them the truth. Do they not believe you? Everyone begins speculating what must have actually happened. They weave elaborate lies and ask you to prove your innocence. How could you have returned without the aid of a hero, they ask. You could not have possibly escaped the Overlord on your own without them. You must be conspiring with the demons, trying to trick everyone into believing they aren't the horrible creatures we know them to be. So they say. Have the people of your village always been this blinded by their fears and hatred of things they've never cared to know? You wonder how you could have missed that before. You are seized by the crowd, and voices from all sides are calling for a public execution. You are to be burned at the stake. You don't want to die. You wonder, would it have been better to hide the truth? You don't like the thought of that. You have always lived honestly, so why has this happened? Why are you being punished? You hear the dissenting voices of your family and neighbours. But they, like you, are powerless against the momentum. They can only watch as you burn, and you can only cry for them. You are so sorry. Executed maiden ending. Jeez. Okay. If we make you diplomatic instead. You're a maiden, introduce yourself, obey her, you don't want to cause any trouble, counter a hero. He asks you what you're doing. Don't you know the Overlord's castle is, right there? You explain everything that happened. The hero seems to think you're lying to him. He asks if you've been brainwashed by the demons. What nerve! You are very upset that this so-called hero would treat you this way, and you leave in a huff. Return alone. And you're just gonna be executed again. It's interesting how that doesn't change anything. I thought she would have gone with the hero and then together enter the village and everyone would have been like, yay! But no, everyone was like, boo, because she was alone. Okay. Yeah, return to select character. That went the wrong way. Skip. Introduce, skip. Refuse to leave. You put your foot down and tell her you're not going anywhere. You still want to fulfill your own destiny, even if you have to make it happen on your own. She's a little frustrated at your stubbornness, but doesn't kick you out or anything. Hooray! The Overlord shares many stories about demons with you, and little by little you realise they may not be the ruthless monsters you were raised to believe. As it turns out, she commanded her demons to avoid the towns and villages. She didn't want to risk giving the humans any excuse to send a hero out after them. You realise that must be why you'd never heard of any demons attacking your town. You express your gratitude to the Overlord on behalf of your village. She says you can thank her by telling the humans to stop raising heroes. She's tired of her servants getting killed by them. You've always thought demons were violent and unreasonable creatures, but it seems the Overlord could say the same of humans. You may be different, but really, they're just trying to live their lives the same as you. You feel like you're starting to understand things a lot better. But maybe everything I've said to you deceive you and the other humans. What would you do if I turned out to be super evil all along? Even if she were to capture you now, you'd think this place is far more interesting than the way things are back home. You kind of like not being told to expect demons to come after you all the time. You feel free. Honestly, you've always kept to yourself, but spending time with this Overlord has been very nice. You feel butterflies in your stomach. But then a hero barges into the room. His clothes are stained by a dark liquid. It's dripping from his weapon too. You realize it must be demon blood. Something horrible has happened. Confused, the hero asks what's going on here. You explain the situation, reassuring him that you are never in any danger. The Overlord walks past the hero and out into the hall. She's wailing. You can only guess what kind of horrible scene he's left for her. The Overlord tears the hero apart in retaliation. You watch silently, unable to scream. The Overlord, who you had just been getting along with so well, has killed another human right in front of you. It's so clear now that you had been deceived by her sweet words. Demons are ruthless monsters after all. The Overlord approaches you now. You back yourself into a corner. Her expression is complicated. Being captured by the Overlord in a horrible way like this was your destiny after all. She vows to keep you safe from now on. You're afraid to find out what that means. But there's no one left to save you. You belong to the Overlord now. Captured maiden ending B? There's an A ending? Reset will make you diplomatic. Skip. Introduce. Skip. Refuse. A hero enters the room. You're surprised to see him at first, until you realise he must have been sent to retrieve you. Confused, the hero asks what's going on. You explain the situation, reassuring him you were never in any danger. The hero expresses his relief that this whole misunderstanding hadn't led to any horrible consequences. You apologise for causing trouble, but really, didn't anyone read the note you left? Jeez. The hero asks if you'll return to the village with him to give everyone the news of your safety. But the Overlord objects to the hero's suggestion. You tell her you plan on returning soon, but she isn't having it. You feel nervous. The hero puts on a brave face for you. If you won't let her go, maybe you demons are evil, after all, and if you are, I'll be forced to vanquish you. You leave me no choice. The Overlord suddenly jumps the hero. She tears into him with her claws. You want to cry out, but the scream catches in your throat. You watch because you can't look away. Had she really been lying to you all along? You wonder, is this your punishment for questioning the divine plan? The Overlord approaches you now. You back yourself into a corner. Her expression is complicated. Being captured by the Overlord in a horrible way like this was your destiny after all. She vows to keep you very safe from now on. You're afraid to find out what that means, but there's no one left to save you. You belong to the Overlord. Caption A. Okay. It's ending A. We make demon disloyal. Disloyal, stay with the Overlord. Diplomatic, possessive. And okay, we'll make you disloyal and redo that. Introduce. Stop worrying about destiny. Refuse to leave. You say no. Let's talk. Bump, 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 bump. Hero enters. says no thanks. Kills Hero, very sad. She's going to keep you very safe. But the Overlord stops. Or rather, someone has stopped her. Whatever held back your scream before doesn't stop you this time. The Overlord has been ripped to shreds by one of her demon underlings. You think you recognize them, but it's hard to tell with all the blood. Everyone's stopped moving now. The room is silent, save for the underlings' heavy breathing. You thank them for what they've done, even though it was awful. You feel you've been rescued from a terrible fate. They look at you, confused for a moment, but then puff out their chest. You should probably go home. This place is dangerous. You follow their advice and make your way out of the castle. You decide to never leave home again for the rest of your life. So there's an escaped maiden A. So if you're just polite, hungry just gets her eaten. You're a hero. You're dutiful. You make quick work of the vile creatures who stood in your way. You feel much better. You feel much stronger now. After a long trek, you make it to the castle's front gate. You are faced with an army of demons that all look very intimidating. There's no way to sneak past these monsters if you want to reach the Overlord. Either of these are what we know. We cut through. You find the maiden. You can't sense anything sinister. You all look at each other in surprise and confusion. This is no time to hesitate. Destroy the Overlord. I'll ask the maiden what's going on. We'll ask what's going on. She explains that she came here on her own and was never in any danger. She hesitantly asks why you're covered in blood. You don't know how to respond. The Overlord moves past you and out the door to see her army in lifeless, bloody piles. She's wailing. It's horrible. This is your chance, hero. We stab the Overlord while we can. You lunge forward, driving your blade through the evil Overlord. She screams, then falls silent. The Overlord has been slain. You smile, offering your hand to the maiden. She takes it after a slight hesitation. She must be surprised at how strong you are. You escort the maiden home. She's oddly quiet on the trek back to the village. She must be too shy to speak. The villagers are very pleased with what a good job you've done, slaying the Overlord and saving a hostage. They throw a huge celebration in your name. You are remembered for generations as the greatest hero the village has ever seen. Triumphant hero and... interesting. You're a hero, be dutiful. Oh. Feel much stronger now on your way to spot a maiden heading back towards the village. She couldn't have come from the Overlord's castle, could she? This may be the exact maiden you're currently seeking to rescue. You approach her with curiosity, and she runs from you for some reason. You wonder, what's that all about? But then you remember you're covered in demon blood. Not wanting to look like a crazy person or anything for chasing. Not wanting to look like a crazy person chasing her or anything, you nonchalantly walk back to the town. As you walk past the town square, you notice the whole village is crowded around. Is that the maiden you saw earlier? She's bound to a wooden stake. The crowd is in a frenzy. Smoke begins to rise and you stand idly by as flames consume the maiden. She must have done something horrible to deserve that. You decide to call it a day and return to your house, but you can't escape this sinking feeling. Maybe you aren't cut out for this role. Spectator ending B. So if you then don't slay anyone, you flee, I assume you have a better ending. Can't return home now. You'll take it. You wonder how you'll ever be able to rescue that maiden all on your own if you can't even find some lousy demon underlings. You'll take your chances at the castle. You're a hero after all. This is your job. On your way to the Overlord's castle, you spot a maiden heading back towards the village. She couldn't have come from the Overlord's castle, could she? This may be the maiden. You approach her with curiosity. You ask the maiden what she's doing. Doesn't she know the Overlord's castle is, right there? It's dangerous. The maiden explains that she spoke with the Overlord, and it turns out demons never had any any diabolical plans to harm the village or anyone in it. Yay! Let's believe her, sure. You have no reason to assume she's lying to you, even though her story is kinda hard to believe. You feel you should trust her. You tell her you're pretty surprised that everyone has been wrong about demons all along. The townspeople must be informed of this immediately. The two of you return to the village. They had all been so worried. They praise you for your bravery, but the maiden quickly sets the record straight. There was nothing she needed to be saved from in the first place. The villagers look at you for explanation. You politely inform them it isn't your story to tell. You merely ran into her on the way to the castle. She explains that the Overlord isn't interested in capturing maidens or anything of the sort. The villagers turn to you again in disbelief. They aren't being subtle in how little they trust this maiden's story. You totally believe her, but to placate these fair citizens, you volunteer to speak to the demons personally, just in case. The crowd breaks into hushed whispers. You're too busy thinking what a great and reliable hero you are to hear what they're saying. The town elder's voice breaks you out of your thoughts. He implores you to meet with the Overlord immediately and says they'll all keep an eye on the maiden until you return. You figure that sounds alright, but the mood is kind of intense for some reason. Did you miss something? You're not sure what's going on, but you get the feeling it might be bad to leave the maiden on her own. But she suddenly takes off running. Oh, you thought the two of you were in this together. Her actions have convinced the crowd that she's obviously been a liar and a witch from the start. People are shouting for you to hunt her down and her demon friends down already. But that doesn't sound like a very heroic task. You can't help but feel these people are wrong. It's up to you for you to catch up to her and talk to the demons in order to clear up this misunderstanding. You valiantly dash after the maiden towards the Overlord's castle. But you were too late. Through the unguarded gates, you spot a group of demons surrounding a body. The maiden. She was a fool to have trusted the demons after all. Your hero blood is boiling. You'll avenge her death. You charge through the gates to eliminate every demon you see. What the are you doing to killing all my soldiers? The Overlord is angry. You vow to exterminate her and all of demonkind. You clash again and again, but the Overlord isn't going down easily. You're both dangerously low on health when everything goes black. Your quest has come to an abrupt end. Right, so that means... Was that underling? What if we... Ooh, trusting's a new one. What if we make you just loyal? That could be useful. So we'll skip. We'll flee, because that's what we did. We'll believe her. Oh dear. It's back. You valiantly dash off after the maiden towards the Overlord's castle. The air becomes dark and thick as you enter deep into the demon territory. Evil. Miasma? Miasma? No, you realize, it's just normal smoke. You see the maiden ahead, but she's stopped in her tracks, the Overlord's castle engulfed in flames. You had only taken an eye off the maiden for a second, but she's already disappeared. You get closer to the castle, but the smoke is so thick. Now you think of turning back. The maiden might need your help, but you can barely see. She could be impossible to find. She could be lying to you. She could have been lying to you all along. Was this a trap? Would it be worth risking your life on that chance? Your legs feel heavy. No, going in there would be suicide. You'll return to the villagers and tell them there was nothing you could do. You were too late. The maiden was claimed by the demons. Ah, that's bystander A. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Diplomatic. Ask what's going on. The maiden explains that she was never actually captured and that she came here on her own volition. That was pretty dangerous. It was a pretty dangerous thing of her to do, but no one got hurt, so at least there's that. You ask her to return to town with you, to reassure everyone of her safety. The Overlord objects to this. The maiden tries to tell her that she'll come right back, but the Overlord refuses to hear it. The maiden seems nervous. As the hero, it's your job to mediate situations like these. You tell the Overlord that if she doesn't let the two of you go, you'll have to assume she's evil. You'll be forced to vanquish her. You leave me no choice. Overlord pauses before suddenly jumping you. You are helpless as she disembowels you with her claws. How horrible. You came all this way, only to be met with this cruel fate. You should have destroyed these evil creatures while you had the chance. Your dying wish is for the maiden to somehow make it out of this alive. Naive hero ending. Reset. Oh, menu. Yes, didn't. So then if the hero slays, upset, apologize, okay. Let's slay. Must be done. This is expected. We'll look at each other. Ask what's going on. You don't know how to respond to your army. This is all just a big misunderstanding. You hope she'll let this whole thing slide if you could just explain yourself. You'd really try, but the Overlord is inconsolable. She tears you apart and the maiden watches in silence. As you die, you can't help but think you probably deserve this. Tragic hero ending. Too sad. Okay. We're the underling. We're in service to the Overlord. We'll be disloyal, sure. She greets you and asks for a favour. You consider your options. Not gonna gobble her up. Maidens aren't the best meal, but you figure you should probably live up to your demon name and strike back against the humans. You start devouring the maiden without so much as a second thought, and you feel quite proud of that. Other humans would surely praise you with curses if they were around to see. Oh man, if only someone could have been watching. Time to find an audience for your evil deeds. You wander into the nearby village. The people are screaming and running away, throwing rocks at you and whatnot. You think that's pretty rude of them. You haven't even done anything yet. Put on a show. You attack the nearest human. He is old and weak, asks the elder, and his bones crunch delightfully. Your audience's screams grow louder. Applause! You think, hey, this is actually pretty fun. I should have taken revenge like this a lot sooner. As you continue your bloodthirsty dance, striking the villagers down, you fail to notice a sword-wielding hero running towards you. He takes you out in one swift blow. You're just a demon underling after all. As you die, you think, that was totally worth it. The curtain closes. The former underling. Because that's... oh, you've still only got 2. Oh, we'll do that again. Skip. Let's overthrow her. Gobble her up. We'll change and leave our mind. You figure if people are this upset at just the sight of you, they probably won't appreciate any terrible acts you commit. They also might fight back. That probably wouldn't end well. You're just one underling after all. This little day out has been adequately refreshing. You return to the castle thinking you'll take a nap. You don't get to sleep long. They wake you, talk about your plan. It's actually not that bad. Your friends seem pretty disappointed. They apologize to you, but before you can ask what they're sorry about, one of them seizes you. Someone who's still loyal to the Overlord really has no place in our castle. You understand, right? There's claws tighten around your neck. You don't bother to struggle. You're outnumbered. You already know how things like this end.
This is a pretty messed up thing to do to a friend.
You tell them. They slit your throat in response. Faithful underling ending. Reset the stage. Bum bum bum. Welcome back. Are you pleased with your progress so far? Sure, why not? So... Alright. Skip. Little bit of soil. Sick of her. Yeah, that's right. We'll gobble you up. Because we're hungry. We don't want to cause trouble. Because they just won't appreciate it. After a few hours, you're rudely awakened by the sound of battle. You emerge from your room to find that a hero has slaughtered many of your friends and work associates. What a jerk! We're gonna save ourselves. You look around at the lifeless forms of those you've known as far back as you can remember. You feel glad to not be in their shoes. You also feel guilty to be thinking that as you flee the castle, until you remember your role, not as an underling, but as a demon. This kind of thing is expected of you. Maybe you'll start a new life far away from any humans or demons, where you'll live in peace, alone, in some dark forest somewhere. Deserter underling. Reset. Now we'll do that again. But we'll make you avenge. Who does this guy think he is, coming in here and killing everyone like some maniac? What do we ever do to him? You lunge at him while he's busy driving his sword into the guard, who sometimes brought you food whenever they noticed you were feeling kinda down. You liked that guard. You wish with all your demon heart for this hero to suffer for his deeds. You bite into him, tearing flesh from bone. It tastes like iron. The hero struggles. You feel his sword go through you, but there is no pain, only retribution. More of your comrades pile onto him as your consciousness fades. The hero is overtaken. Your army has won. You have earned yourself a rest. Victorious underling ending. Okay. You have to be a tyrant. Overthrow her. Gobble her up. Leave. Okay, let's kill the Overlord. Tell them you were just joking. You follow your friends outside the castle. Your guidance. She's taking a nap. This is almost too easy. You silently approach your master. She looks so peaceful. Time to die. You figured the cleanest way to do this would be to dig your claws into her throat, so you do just that. She awakes, but not in time to stop you. You watch as she chokes on her blood, cursing you, before finally expiring. That felt terrible. You remind yourself it was either you or her, and you weren't about to let yourself get killed by anyone. You leave the room to find your friends waiting outside. They look pleased. Only now do you realise they must have planned to use you like this from the beginning. You are the new ruler of the castle. Your subjects bow before you. You live in fear that they will one day betray you, as you betrayed your overlord. Overlord underling B, so you can be underling. Overlord underling again. Okay. Skip. Overthrow. Gobble. Leave. Let's kill her. Chicken out. You don't want to kill her. You can't go through with it. You turn to leave, but you find your friends blocking the exit. In a panicked whisper, you ask them to let you out. This seems to have been their way of testing your loyalty. You told them this is pretty effed up, and you ask to be let out again. The Overlord stirs in bed. While your head is turned, the demons shut the door. You scramble into the Overlord's closet to hide before she wakes up to sit and sees you. There's nothing you could possibly say to explain this and survive. You're trembling. You can't believe those would bully you like this. You feel like crying. Lights flicker at your feet. It doesn't take long for you to realise they've set the room on fire. You hear the Overlord trying to get the door open to no avail. You're both trapped. Too afraid to move, you resign yourself to your fate. You and the Overlord burn together. Cowardly underling, diplomatic, possessive, polite. Okay. She's cool with it. She's surprisingly cool with it. Nice. You set out on your adventure outside the castle. The change of atmosphere excites you. You spend some time rolling around in the grass, wild and free. As you make your way along the path to the nearby human village, you encounter a maiden. She greets you and says she has a favour to ask. You consider your options. We'll hear her out. You're in a good mood today and are rather curious about what the maiden has to say. Humans don't usually talk to you, so this is kind of exciting. You hadn't guessed it would even be possible to understand each other before now. The maiden is going on and on about some kind of destiny she's trying to fulfill. The bottom line, from what you gather, is she wants you to take her to the Overlord. Sounds like it could be interesting. Besides, you have nothing better to do. Satisfied with your day out, you take the maiden back to the castle and present her to the Overlord. They seem to be getting along just fine, so you decide it's about time for a nap. You don't get to nap. Let's overthrow her. So, your friends agreed. You sneak up to the Overlord's room, but there's a couple of humans in there. You watch the scene unfold. You aren't sure why, but the Overlord suddenly cuts the hero down. She approaches the maiden you brought to her earlier, and with the Overlord distracted, you figure this is as good a chance as any. You launch a sneak attack, getting her right in the back. She flinches, giving you enough advantage to take her down. You rip the Overlord apart until she stops moving. That was messier than you would have liked. The maiden mutters something from the corner. Thank you for saving me. It wasn't your intention, but it sounded like you did something heroic. You tell the maiden to go home. This place is dangerous. She follows your advices and leaves the castle. Your castle. You are the new Overlord. Heroic underling ending. Disloyal. Okay. Skip. Hear her out. Be disloyal. You and your friends turned to notice the maiden from earlier had overheard your entire conversation about how you want to assassinate and kill the Overlord. Oh, very inconvenient. It'd be bad for you if the Overlord found out about this. Ooh. Captor's an option. Toss her in the dungeon. You and your friends seize the maiden and bring her to the dungeon under the castle. It's empty, save for the decorative skulls. They're only there to make it feel more spooky. The maiden is very upset. You leave her in the cell to continue scheming with your friends. But now the hero has arrived at the front gates. He's asking about a maiden, perhaps the very one you just locked up. The gatekeeper, who must have seen everything, tells the hero exactly what happened. What an idiot, you think. Why give the hero an excuse to just start slaughtering us? The hero yells, "Prepare to face justice!" and the other such cliche hero lines before driving his sword into the gatekeeper's torso. You're small compared to a lot of your friends, so you're able to slip away without getting cut up by that sword. You get to thinking, if this hero took down the Overlord for you, everything might actually work in your favor. You wait for things to die down outside before poking your head out. You spot the Overlord and hero locked in battle. They've worn each other down, making this very easy for you. Once an opening presents itself, you hit the back of the hero's head, knocking him out. What are you doing? Couldn't you tell this was a duel? You don't respond. You have to carry out the assassination. You tackle her and rip her to shreds with your claws until she stops moving. You finish off the hero next. You can't let him revive and come after you later. Kind of a cheap victory, but it doesn't make any difference. Anyone who managed to survive comes crawling out of their hiding places. You are the new ruler of this castle. Your subjects bow before you. You live in fear that they will one day betray you as you betrayed yours. Reset. You're an Overlord. Give you the day off. Let us stay. Dun 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 dun. Yep. Very grateful. Everyone's grateful. You might be evil. Ah ha 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 ha. You notice the sound of battle have started ringing through your halls. The maiden is getting nervous, so you reassure her it's only your underlings roughhousing. No big deal. You know it's probably a hero, but you don't want to upset the maiden by telling her that. Your army will take care of it. It isn't long before the hero bursts into your room, but he shouldn't have made it here. Why didn't they stop him? The hero just stands there, unsure of himself. He is covered in demon blood. The maiden speaks out to him, trying to explain the situation. You move past the hero and out the door. You're not thinking clearly. Seeing your servants' bodies in pieces all strewn about your castle has really taken it out of you. That hero did this? There's so much blood. Why? Why did he come for the maiden? Why did he think she needed rescuing? There was no one for this hero to save. There was never any harm meant to anyone. You were just talking to her. Why has it turned out like this? The hero starts babbling insincere apologies and excuses, realizing his wrongdoing. But you are far beyond hearing that kind of bull. You've had it with these humans, always murdering your servants for no reason. You can no longer hold yourself back, and you lash out at the hero. When you regain control, there is nothing left of the hero. The maiden has fled in terror. You are alone. Uff. Big off, man. What else can we do? Diplomatic and heroic. Alright. Skip. Have the day off. Let us stay. Back. Interrupt by a hero. He didn't even hesitate. Ah, you've gone soft. How could you have let your guard down like that? How unfair. After all you've done to avoid this outcome, you can't outrun your destiny. The hero always slays the overlord. You should never have trusted a human. You watch as the hero escorts the maiden out of your castle, captured by a demon. At least she got what she came here for. You join your army in eternal slumber. Big oof. Diplomatic and not heroic. Be possessive, get the day off. Let her stay. Keep her here. The maiden came here to be captured by you, didn't she? You'll grant her wish. You tell the hero you won't let her take her home. The maiden assures you she'll be back, but you don't budge. The hero is cautious now. If you don't let her go, maybe you demons are evil after all, and if you are, I'll be forced to vanquish you. You have no choice. Your destiny. You destroy the hero before he can steal your maiden away. She's frightened. You don't understand why. Didn't she say she prefers this place to her village? Now she doesn't have to leave. You take a step towards the maiden, and she backs herself into a corner. You don't understand. She wanted to stay here with you, and that hero was trying to get in the way of that. You had to kill him. You'll be sure to keep this maiden very safe from now on. Selfish overlord and tyrant, hungry, disloyal, trusting. Alright, tyrant. You are awakened by one of your underlings. They brought you a hero who inquires about a missing maiden. You tell him you don't know anything. Humans never really visit this place. He believes you and goes home. To your surprise, you figure he might try to fight you, but you're glad to get back to your nap instead. Until you wake up to something completely unexpected. One of your underlings is tearing your throat out. You try to struggle, but you can tell you're already mortally wounded. What have you done to deserve this kind of ending? You curse at them, choking on your own blood. You die wondering if you could have done anything to prevent this. Assassinate. Alright. Tyrant. Let her stay. Let them go. You said I should return. So, close your eyes for a while. You'd almost fallen asleep when the maiden and hero come bursting into your room, frantically trying to communicate something to you. You're told that a group of demons is plotting to assassinate you. You're not surprised. How nice of the humans to care, though. One of your underlings barges in next, shouting that all humans are liars. They're followed by another group of demons crying that everything was the first underling's plan. Everyone is shouting over each other now, and it's very annoying. You yell at them to shut their traps. You have no doubt that your servants would let their ambition cloud their judgment and lead them to try to take your throne. Regardless of who led this conspiracy, I have no choice but to punish everyone to keep you all in place, crushed beneath my heel. Saying that made you feel very overlord-like. You aren't sure if you have the strength to back it up, though. Lately, all you do is sleep. The group of demons start muttering something about going back to plan A, and suddenly your door slams shut. You, the maiden, the hero, and one of your underlings are trapped inside. In an instant, the whole room is in flames. The underling pounds on the door, cursing at their friends for betraying them. The hero pounds on your door as well, vowing to slay the cowardly demons on the other side. So this is how you die, burned alive in your own room by those you thought you could trust. You should have expected this from a bunch of idiot demons, though. You notice the maiden crying. Why does she have to die over something that has nothing to do with her? Perhaps she was cursed from the moment she spoke to you. You wonder if you're cursed as well. You're filled with so much anger and frustration that you don't even notice you grabbed the underling those traitors blamed everything on. They cry for mercy, saying they were dragged into this plot knowing they'd be killed if they took your side. They cry that if they didn't want to have to kill. They cried that they didn't want to have to kill you. You almost feel sorry for them. Or be merciful. You release the underling, killing them wouldn't make you feel any better. Besides, they've already gotten their punishment. You all burn together. Overlord's true ending. Before you're taken back to reset the story once again, you pause for a moment. True ending, you say to yourself. What was the point of all my effort if the true ending is terrible? You must have forgotten where you were. This is bad end theatre. Is the pain setting in? Oh, but you shouldn't be. You should have been well aware of what you'd be shown when you entered this place. It's a problem I see quite often. At some point you grew attached to my little cast. You started to relate to their flaws, their plights. You started wishing for their happiness. But you aren't going to find that in my theatre. My lovingly crafted labyrinth of suffering. Anyway, I hope you'll pardon the interruption. You're making great progress, thank you. The choice is yours to continue on to the next ending is always yours. I'll leave you here to do it, my dear guest. Alright. Oh, true. Be a tyrant. Antisocial. You'd love to have all the conversations in the world with your new friend, but having a human girl here would definitely cause trouble. You put on your mean face and tell her to get lost. The maiden does what she's told and takes her leave. You figure you may as well go back to bed for now. But you don't get to rest for very long. You wake up to the sound of battle. A hero is cutting through your army. As Overlord, it's your job to take charge in these kinds of situations. You rush out to end this hero's pitiful existence. You vile demons, I shouldn't have believed you for a second that you were anything but pure evil. I'll exterminate you all. You don't really get what he's going on about, but you engage regardless. The girl's got to defend her people. You clash again and again, but the hero isn't going down easily. You're both dangerously low on health, waiting for the other to make a move when one of your underling appears behind him. They knock the hero unconscious. You kind of appreciate it, but can't they see this was a duel? They don't respond. You sense murderous intent. Your servant tackles you, tearing you apart with their claws. You struggle to retaliate. They've done too much damage, you can barely move now. Your blood is everywhere. You can't believe this has happened to you. Why has this happened to you? You have been slain by your own underling. Trade A. Make you not hungry. What do you need to be? Antisocial, at least. We're a maiden, we're cute. Introduce. We'll be obedient, I guess. Don't want to cause trouble. Explain everything that happened. He's very surprised that demons don't seem to be as malicious as you were raised to believe. Two of you returned to the village, hoping to communicate this to everyone. They'd all been so worried and are very glad that the hero brought you back. You set the record straight. The village seemed confused. He ran into you. This is your story. You explain to them how you met the Overlord and she's not actually interested in capturing maidens or anything like that. The villagers look again to the hero for confirmation. You feel a little bit miffed that they prefer his words over yours, but you don't say anything. The hero proclaims to believe your story. but volunteers to go talk to the demons himself just to make sure. The crowd breaks into hushed whispers. You hear the words trickery and demon sympathizer being thrown around, which makes you frown. You're pretty shocked that everyone's this hesitant to believe you. Does the hero even trust you? You aren't sure anymore. An old man implores the hero to go speak with him. He says you should be held a prisoner and considered dangerous until the hero returns. The crowd agrees with him. But you, of course, if you're conspiring with the demons, which they can't afford to let their guard down, the whole village would be slaughtered by monsters. The hero isn't saying anything. You'll be tied up and tossed in a cell at this rate. If you're going to be held captive by anyone, it's going to be the Overlord, not your fellow countrymen. Grab the hero and run. You boldly announce that you'll accompany the hero to prove yourself. You'd rather risk what's out there instead of staying in the village that doesn't trust you. No one seems to know how to react. You grab the hero by the wrist and take off before anyone stops you. Near the castle's entrance, you spy a group of suspicious demons congregating. Ooh, colour. They're talking about assassinating the Overlord. You have to warn her. But the hero shakes his head. He says that if this was the true nature of demons, the world was better off without them. This isn't right, you think. What kind of hero passes up the chance to save a life? The demons have taken a notice of you. It's now or never. You take off into the castle and the unreliable hero follows shortly after. You burst into the Overlord's room, all your words spilling out at once. You should probably slow down, but there's no time. The Overlord seems to have followed your frantic explanation, but clearly doesn't understand the urgency of the situation. The underling comes in, calling you a liar. You're surprised they were part of this evil plot. They seem so nice. The other demons come in right after, saying the whole thing was the first underling's idea. Everyone's shouting at each other now. It's really stressing you out. You are relieved when the Overlord demands silence. She threatens them with violence, and you think she's very Overlord-like in this moment. The group of demons hiss to each other before shutting the door, leaving the little one behind. You watch as it pounds on the door in distress. Have they locked you all in? You have a bad feeling about this. And thinking that must have jinxed it, because now the whole room is engulfed in flames. If only you had ignored those demons before, and you and the hero wouldn't have stumbled into this situation. If you had just pretended not to hear them, if you had left as you were told, only the Overlord would have been killed. But you couldn't have done that. That path isn't an option for you. You think that no matter what, you'll always strive for this path where everyone survives. It must exist. It simply must. The Overlord seizes her underling. They beg for their life. You pray. You don't know what else to do, so you just pray. The Overlord's claws pierce the underling's chest. They scream an awful scream. She digs and twists her claws into the poor thing while you continue to pray. But there's no saving any of you now. You, the Overlord, the hero, you are consumed by flames. Devout maiden ending. Doesn't matter what you are. Doesn't matter what you are, but you have to be antisocial. Alright. Introduce. Refuse to leave. Not going anywhere. Back. Demon. You dashes towards the Overlord's sword drawn. Protect her. You selflessly throw yourself in front of the hero's blade, acting as a shield. It's funny, you think. You never could have imagined this would be the way that you die. The roles are switched around, but it feels right to do it somehow. You're glad your destiny turned out to be saving someone rather than being saved yourself. As your vision fades, you hope that everything turns out alright for your new friend. Sacrificial. Puppet Master. Okay. It's cool. Off. Stay in chat. So, day off. Let her stay. Oops. Oh, what's happened here? Okay, why has it happened? Why did it turn out like this? The maiden shouts something behind you. and you turn just in time to see her throw herself between you and the hero's blade. It pierces her chest and she falls to the floor lifeless. As the pool of blood beneath her grows, so does your rage. This hero has taken everyone from you now. You lose control, and the hero is obliterated. But your hatred for the humans has not yet been sated. You go on to destroy them all, and become ruler of this entire world. Wow. Vengeful A. There's one more, so if we go Tyrant, Antisocial, let them go. Disloyal, Trusting, Resolute. Okay. Tyrant, Antisocial. So obedient, trusting, resolute, disloyal. Obedient, trusting, resolute, disloyal. And then we have to be Tyrant and Antisocial. Let them go. Tyrant, Antisocial, let them go. Tyrant, Antisocial. So, you go for a very long rest. The maiden suddenly bursts into your room, accompanied by a hero. She's trying to frantically communicate something to you, but you're half asleep. They tell you a group of demons is actually after your life. You don't grasp the urgency of the situation. One of your underlings barges in next, shouting that all the humans are liars. They're followed by another group of demons crying out that everything was the first underling's plan. Everyone is shouting over each other now, and it's very annoying. You yell at them for them to shut their traps. You have no doubt that your servants would let their ambition cloud their judgment and lead them to try to take your throne. Regardless of who led this conspiracy, I have no choice but to punish everyone to keep you all in your place. Crushed beneath my heel. Saying that made you feel very overlord-like. You aren't sure if you have the strength to back it up though. Lately all you do is sleep. The group of demons start muttering something about going back to plan A, and suddenly your door slams shut. You, the maiden and the hero, are trapped inside. The whole room goes into flames. Cursing at their friends, the hero says they're gonna cut them down, so this is how you die. Burned alive in your own room by those you thought you could trust. Should have expected this. She's praying. First, from the moment she's walked to you, maybe you're cursed as well. You're so filled with rage you don't bother to notice that you've grabbed them. They're crying for mercy. Feel sorry for them? No. You pierce their chest with your claws. Oops. They scream. The hero backs away. He is wise not to interfere. They've stopped moving, but you keep digging and twisting your claws into them. It doesn't make you feel any better. The underling's corpse burns along with you and the two humans. Spiteful overlord and... A letter flutters down from beyond a curtain. You found lost letter 4. That's interesting. What was it? Merciful, antisocial, obedient, trusting, resolute, merciful. Okay, and all you have to be is disloyal. Demon underling, yay. Tell her to quit yelling. Let's be disloyal. You were forced into this mess. You're sure that they would have killed you if you'd sided with her. To your surprise, the Overlord spares you. Or maybe she'd rather see you suffer instead. Looking around, you've just gone from one dead end to another. The maiden is crying. The hero is silent. You'll all burn together. The underling's true ending. No matter the perspective, the true ending remains the same. That's what makes it true. You couldn't resist seeing it for yourself, though, could you? I just want to complete it all, man. You've set a little task and I like to tick them off. I wonder what will happen when you collect them all. Will you give in to despair, or... A letter flutters down from beyond the curtain. Found lost letter 3. I don't think it matters what you do. No, it doesn't matter what you do. We need to stay and not do anything. Alright, introduce. Yay. Refuse. We are going to do nothing. The hero's blade pierces the Overlord and she lets out a horrible scream. You flinch. The Overlord is slain. The hero smiles and holds out his hand to you, saying it's time to go home. His glove is drenched in blood. Hesitantly, you take his hand. The hero guides you through the castle, past the corpses of his enemies. You try to keep your eyes at your feet. There's blood everywhere. You shut your eyes, but even then you can't escape the smell. All of this was because of you, wasn't it? You exit the castle and the hero leads you back to the village. Everyone celebrates the hero's great triumph over the demons. You feel sick, but you take part in the festivities regardless. Complacent maiden. Alright. Okay, let's go. We'll obey. We will leave on our own. You can prove yourself without anyone's help. You make a run for the Overlord's castle, leaving the hero behind, but as you get closer, you start to notice a tower of black smoke darkening the beautiful blue sky. The castle is engulfed in flames. What in God's name could have happened? You scan the fleeing demons, but the Overlord isn't among them. Against your better judgment, you rush into the burning castle to find her. You quickly reach the Overlord's room, but the door is shut tight and the handle is too hot to touch. You're too weak to force it open. You pound your fists against the door helplessly. What were you thinking? Is this all because you'd forgotten your role? Only a hero could pull off this kind of stunt. You start to cough. The smoke, it's too thick. You can barely breathe. You realise you haven't got much time left now. You desperately head towards the stairs to save yourself, but the fire spread faster than you expected. You won't make it outside. You can't help but laugh. What a joke. A maiden saving the Overlord. If you just stayed true to your role, things wouldn't have ended like this. This is exactly the kind of punishment you deserve. You let the demon fire cleanse your rotten soul. Selfless Maiden A. Introduce, obey, leave on your own. You can prove yourself without anyone's help. A suspicious group of demons stand outside the entrance. You're talking about assassinating the Overlord. They immediately notice you overheard them. The underling you recognized from before is the first to do something about it. This is just the way it has to be. They suddenly attack you. In the moment you regret having ever trusted the demons, you die instantly. Slaughtered Maiden. Now, if you're a captor, you're captive. Alright, skip. Introduce. Obey. Leave on your own. They immediately notice you overheard them, and they decide to lock you in the dungeon before you can cause any trouble. You cry out, but the demons ignore your protest. You can't believe you escaped, possibly being thrown in a cell back in your village, only to be tossed in this awful place. This is terrible. Who's going to keep those demons from harming the Overlord? You hope she can fend for herself. You sure can't. You hear the sounds of battle echoing through the halls outside. Did the hero follow you? If he's out there, your cries don't reach him. After a while, the violence seems to die down. It's impossible to tell what's happened. You continue to wait, but no one comes for you. Unable to escape, you rot in that cell. Imprisoned. Very sad. Now there's only the true ending left here, so... Resolute, disloyal, merciful. Oops. And you. There we go. Skip, introduce, obedient, resolute. You just pray, the overlord spares the underling, you feel relieved, but does it make any difference? Will you all burn together? You do. Maiden's true ending. A letter flutters down from beyond the curtain. You found lost letter 2. It can't end like this. Keep collecting bad endings for now. All that's left to do is this one, so... I'll turn off everything else besides that. So we need to be dutiful, heroic, and martyr. Dutiful, slay them. Dutiful, slay them. Be heroic. You lunge forward to put an end to this evil overlord, but your blade pierces the maiden instead. She has sacrificed herself to protect this demon. It takes you a moment to recover from the shock. The overlord wails. Why did you do that? You're not sure if the question is directed at you. The overlord strikes at you in a vengeful rage. You parry, and she is slain. Your sword feels heavy. You look at your hands, your clothes. Blood. So much blood. You look at the fallen maiden, wondering what to tell the townspeople. You wonder, why would she protect the overlord? She must have been brainwashed by demonic magic. You pick up the overlord's head, wrapping it in your cape, and begin your long journey back to town. You will say that you were too late, that nothing could be done for the girl, but the overlord is slain. There will be celebration. Loyal hero. Oh. So we will flee. We'll be diplomatic. Ask what's going on. We leave. You pause when you casually exit the castle. You pause when you see a group of suspicious demons standing near the entrance. They're talking about assassinating the overlord. This proves to you that demons really are foul creatures. We have to tell her about this. You don't understand what the maiden is thinking. A world is better off with less demons. They're all cold, ruthless creatures that should be destroyed. And those same creatures have just noticed you and are eavesdropping. The maiden takes off into the castle, and you have no choice but to follow. You burst into the overlord's room. The maiden frantically tries to communicate what you just overheard. A demon underling barges in next, calling you liars. It's followed by the group from the entrance, who shifts the blame back onto the little one. These demons only care about themselves. How low can they be? You begin shouting at them, and the whole room dissolves into noise until the overlord yells for everyone to shut their traps. She threatens them with violence. This overlord is no better than her subjects. You grip your sword tightly. If you have to cut through everyone to get this maiden to safety, you certainly will. The group of demons hiss to each other before shutting the door, leaving the runt of the litter behind. You glance around for another exit, but there isn't one. You have a terrible feeling about this. In an instant, the whole room is in flames. What kind of demonic magic is this? The underling pounds on the door, upset that it's been betrayed. You join it, vowing to slay the cowardly demons on the other side. The next moment, the overlord has taken hold of the underling, is crying for mercy. She thrusts her claws into the underling's chest, and it lets out a horrible scream. You back away. You won't be the next target of her rage. She continues to dig and twist her claws into its limp body. You can no longer watch. You You look at the maiden, she's crying, hands clasped together in prayer. To have faith in a time like this, you envy her. The two of you, the Overlord and the Underling's corpse, are all consumed by the flames. Resigned hero end. Once more. I'm pretty sure you have to be merciful. Yeah. Merciful. Let's go. Skip. What was it? Flee. Diplomatic. Ask. So, let's cry for mercy. Is she going to kill it as retribution? It comes to cry and makes excuses, but the Overlord does nothing. To your surprise, she lets it go. Ah, demons capable of mercy? You guess it doesn't matter now. You'll all burn together. True rose, true end. A letter flutters down. Lost letter 1. Now these letters. My love. It just isn't fair at all, is it? For them to force us apart like this. It's unreasonable. Cruel. I had to find an outlet for this grief somehow. So I decided to write. And I'll keep writing until the day you find me once more. And then maybe we could write a story together. I'm waiting for that day. Yours forever, Tragedy. My love, I finally fulfilled a childhood dream of mine. Yes, that's right. I opened my very own theatre. You would be so proud. If you could only see it, I know how much it would have meant to you to be at my side on opening night. I'm sorry for going ahead without you, but I thought if my theatre could become world famous, then maybe you just might hear of it. Wherever you are, yours forever, Tragedy. My love, I've been feeling a little depressed lately. Many patrons have come to my theatre, but none so far have stayed to experience every tale in its entirety. The critics haven't exactly been kind, but I understand. My stories aren't exactly crowd pleasers. Despite that, you always listen to the very end. I'm grateful for that. Hope to see you soon. Forever yours, Tragedy. My love, do you remember when we first met? I had just finished one of my scripts, one I was quite proud of, in fact. As I read it aloud, you happened to pass by. What a terrible ending, you said. Why should these poor fools have to die? You were so rude. You wouldn't accept any of my justifications, and yet you managed to convince me. It really would be better if everyone could live in harmony, however unrealistic that felt. I look back fondly on that day now. Even now, I wonder if somewhere you're thinking of it too. Forever yours, Tragedy. Oh. Very sad. Congratulations. You've explored every path I had to offer. Thanks for playing. Double exclamation point. What's this? It can't end like this. You want to answer the maiden's prayers. You've decided to find a way to save everyone. By retracing the paths you've seen so far, there doesn't seem to be any room to avoid a bad ending. Is there really nothing you can do to keep them all from getting killed in the end? If there's nothing you can do from acting within their story, maybe it's time to take things into your own hands. Ooh. On fire. Everyone's on fire. Yeah. You are unknown character. You boldly insert yourself into the story and use your incredible power to warp everyone to safety. You didn't know you could do that. But what's going on here? You take a moment to get a good look at yourself. You are you. But why are you pitch black? You feel that this body doesn't accurately represent you, but you move past that. The hero maiden, underling, and overlord have been staring at you too. They look like they don't really know what they're supposed to do right now. You guess that's because you're usually the one guiding them. What will you say to them?
Hi guys.
You awkwardly smile and introduce yourself. The maiden is first to respond.
My prayers have been answered. You must be...
Oh god, no. You're merely the player. If there was any god here, they'd be the final boss. That's just how these role-playing games go. Now you realise what the real true ending must be. Now, enough of this. I admit I've been encouraging you all along, but a self-insert story? How passe. I think I've said that right, I don't know. You watch helplessly as tragedy descends from the heavens. You didn't honestly believe that you were the only one who could force your way into the stage, did you? I am the narrator, storyteller, god of this world. Call me tragedy if you'd like. Darkness envelops your party. You don't mind if I send each of them back to relive one of their many bad endings, right? You are alone in this darkness with me, tragedy. I sincerely hope you've been enjoying your time in my theatre, though I can't abide you stealing the show without permission. It's quite disrespectful.
I want to see something new.
Are you trying to say my bad endings have gone out of style? You have some nerve. You think defeating me might just be the only way to see a better ending. It's all that's left for you, isn't it? Well, this does sound like it could be entertaining. Show me what you've got. Time to fight God. The stage is set for your final battle against me, the god of this world. What will you do? How will you fight tragedy itself? I'd love to see it. Attack. You try your best to tear me down, but you can't seem to do any damage. You don't truly exist in this world after all. Just a little arms for me. Oh, is that all? You'll never defeat me like that.
Wait, let me try again. Attack!
You're just outclassed here. Behold my beautifully tragic tales. Doesn't seeing them all again make your heart ache? You've witnessed all 41 of my painstakingly crafted endings. You must be as much of a masochist as me. I commend your thoroughness. Surely these characters have a special place in your heart. They're still suffering backstage, you know. It's a shame they couldn't make it here to the end of the world. That's right. You came here to save them. You can't do this alone. Oh my gosh. HP is infinity though. We'll summon hero? Imagine, yeah. You find the hero in his home, hunched over a sewing table. Your sudden intrusion scares the hell out of the poor guy. Are you some kind of demon? You explain that no, you're not a demon, you're... How can you explain it in a way that the hero can understand? Instead you ask what he's sewing. Oh, this? I craft all my own hero gear. You sense pride in his pride in his hobby. You wonder if the costumes are what attracted him to the role of hero. Would you like some clothes? You don't seem to be wearing any. You remember the state of your body and decide that, yeah, some clothes from the hero would be nice. He is overjoyed by your answer. Apparently his outfits are too gaudy for the other townsfolk, so no one else wants them. I mean, he is wearing basically a belt on his head. The true end of the hero suddenly becomes clear. You offer to change his fate. I could make a living as a tailor rather than be a hero? Please, tell me what I can do to reach that dream. The hero will now fight alongside you. Yeah, do I have clothes now? No. I agreed to follow you, but I didn't expect to face something like this. The hero has arrived. We really couldn't have a final boss without him. You're the one who's been killing us. Murderer. I can't truly call myself a hero until I see you defeated. We'll see about that. Tragedy attacks with terrible fate. Oh. I sort of want to summon everyone. I want to summon everyone. You enter the Overlord's room, relieved to see the fire contained to the torches on the walls. When you close the door behind you, the Overlord rises from her slumber. Who are you? And have you come to reside in my castle and serve me? You explain that no, you're not here to serve her. It's more like you've come to do her a favour. You ask why she spends all day sleeping instead of commanding her demon army. She laughs in response. Many of my underlings certainly think I should be more aggressive with the humans, like my father before me. His quest for revenge was endless and self-perpetuating. There's a reason I had to destroy him. You can't help but think that's a little late in the game to be getting some new backstory. It is a little late, let's be honest. I have no interest in waging wars on the humans. I merely wish to be left alone, to live a peaceful, indulgent life in my castle. You realize she must actually be very lonely, only surrounded by soldiers instead of friends. No wonder she gets so attached to the maiden. The true end for the Overlord suddenly becomes clear. You offer to change her fate. My own attempts at peace have been rather imperfect. If you offer solution, very well then. I will follow you. She now fights alongside. Can they take different turns? I see. So this is tragedy. Ah, you brought the Overlord. I don't stand a chance now. You prevented me from attaining peace for so long. For long enough. Prepare to die. Ha ha ha, I hope you're well prepared to face your deaths as well. She attacks with terrible fate. I'm gonna get everyone first and then we fight. You happen to find the maiden as she exits the church, her heart set on meeting a demon. Perfect timing! She approaches you, having already taken notice of your odd form. Excuse me! Are you a traveller? I've never seen anyone like you before. You explain that no, you're not a traveller. Well, maybe you are, in a sense. You've come all this way. The maiden regards you with excited curiosity. Then perhaps you might be a demon? I was hoping I would meet one today. You think of all the terrible fates that hope would bring about. She is the catalyst of the story, after all. My role as a maiden is to be captured by the Overlord, but you see, I've grown so tired of waiting. You remember this part. She wants to understand her role better, and so you ask what it is that she's really hoping to gain from this. The maiden is confused by your question. Perhaps it was as simple as wanting to reach the place she felt like she belonged. The true end for the maiden suddenly becomes clear. You offer to change her fate. If there's something I can do to find fulfillment, then please guide me. The maiden will now fight alongside you. What is this horrible creature? You wound me, my dear maiden. Is tragedy really such a terrible thing to behold? I remember now. I remember all the awful things you put us through. Then this would be familiar to you as well. Oof. Ouch. Okay, let's summon the last one. Approach the gates of the Overlord's castle. The underling is on guard duty as you expected. They called out to you. The other demon guard is sound asleep. Hey, you're a pretty weird looking intruder. What do you want? You explain that no, you're not an intruder, although you're definitely intruding into their story right now. You tell the underling that you've come to save them from tragedy. Okay, try saving me from boredom first. I hate this job. The underling snickers. You ask what kind of job they'd rather have. It'd be best if I didn't have to work at all. I I just want to live a carefree life and never get bossed around or picked on. You think of the underlings' friends who had bullied them into an assassination plot only to betray them in the end. If they kept better company, maybe they wouldn't feel so restless. The true ending for the underling suddenly becomes clear. You offer to change their fate. So, there's always a way that even work can be fun? Sounds fake, but I'll tag along with you just in case. The underling now fights alongside you.
Wait, what the? You didn't say anything about a boss battle.
The underling, You really must be desperate to call on such an unreliable ally.
Huh. If I beat this guy up, all my problems will be over.
Oh, but it won't be that easy. Ouch. Ha, now the whole party's here. Can you solve my final puzzle? Behaviors will open the path to your true ending. Show me. Ooh. Start with hope. Our true endings do exist, they simply must. The maiden hopes with all her heart to overcome tragedy. Tragedy is reeling. There he uses, your reign of terror will end here, tragedy. I refuse to give in. The hero uses his willpower. Tragedy is reeling. We use tenacity. Knock me down and I'll come back stronger. This is tenacity. Here's ambition. Reach my true ending with my own power. This is it. With everyone's hearts united, you take aim towards the best possible futures. Destroy tragedy once for all. Whew. You've done it. You've managed to defeat me. A tragic end for tragedy itself. I love it. I must thank you all for fulfilling your roles perfectly. Thank you, hero. Sorry, hero. Thank you, maiden. As herself. Thank you, underling. Thank you, overlord. Enough of this nonsense. We defeated you, so die already. Don't worry, I'll be making my exit shortly. Finally, Yuma. Thank you most of all. We couldn't have made it here without you. Ah yes, my bad end theatre did contain a truly good end after all. I apologize for antagonizing you all for so long. I wanted to deliver a satisfying story. Was I able to do it? I wonder. I'm satisfied. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Happy endings shouldn't always come easily. Reality is not so kind. But you've earned this one. Here is your true ending. My true ending? Oh, he's a little tailor, yay! Live your dreams. He's put the cape and the belt up. I like to think they're a rock star. That's what I'll live with. Oh, they have friends in the village! Yay, they have friends! Nice. Or maybe it was friends and then Maiden did went into politics, public relations.
Wandering all alone, searching for my lost love, stumbled toward bed and theater. Though its blaze were cold, I still felt this warmth from them. Isn't that
But
strange?
poor tragedy. I guess if there's that, then what's, that's one of the masks. Like those theatre mask things that everyone associates with theatre. What's the other one? Is it comedy?
are suffering,
I don't remember.
my darling.
But you could spiral off. But I don't believe it'd be that interesting. Your true end. Something's missing. Oh. Oh. You're still here. The curtain has closed for the final time. I'm shutting down my theatre. And there are no more tragedies left for me to tell after all. There is one more. Me? You'd like to know why I started this theatre? Because I'm obsessed with bad endings, of course. Remove the mask. You gently raise your fingers to the cracks in my mask. Piece by piece it falls apart into your hands, revealing I should have warned you. This might affect what you think of my stories. You can't help but compare my face to the maidens. I'm not her, but it's not like she isn't me, necessarily. That's how it is with fiction. Would you like to hear not another ending, but the truth? Yeah, tell me. Alright, one last story. You may already know this, but it doesn't have a happy ending. First, I'll set the stage. In this world, there is no such thing as demons or even heroes, really. There was a girl eager to set out to fulfill some sort of destiny. That part was true. She met someone, another girl. A running theme, isn't it? The maiden and the overlord. The two were inseparable, and for a time, everything was just wonderful. But their families... neither of them approved of the relationship. Was intent on pulling them apart. She, no, we used to like this type of stories where love conquers all, where the strength of love will pull you through any hardship and everything is okay in the end. I lost her, and then I started this theatre. What? I was hoping to find you. Oh, it's you. It's been so long. Thought I'd never see you again. Think of the worst endings. Got difficult. Feeling such a fool. Oh, I could say the same. Was this giving your stories a happy ending? To a place like this? Yes, but actually at work, everything does turn out okay in the end. Now, truly everyone can live happily ever after. All tragedies end. Wow. That really wrapped the whole thing up with a nice little bow. What if I enter? Can I enter? There's nothing to see anymore. Well, thanks for watching, liking, subscribing, all that stereotypical YouTubey stuff. Who knows when this is gonna go out, when I'll have time to edit it and all. But thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!